Welcome to the Functional Medicine Foundation's podcast, where we explore root cause medicine, engage in conversation with functional and integrative medicine experts, and build community with like-minded health seekers. I'm your host, Amber Warren. Let's dig deeper. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here today with Dr. David Musnick and Heather Lucas. Dr. David Musnick brings over 35 years in experience in sports medicine and internal medicine with 28 years experience in functional medicine. He specializes in orthopedic sports medicine, functional immunology, and functional neurology, and is known for his innovative approach to diagnosing and treating joint, nerve, muscle, and brain-related conditions. Dr. Musnick is especially recognized for his work with osteoarthritis, cognitive decline, concussions, long COVID, and toxin burden recovery. He has treated thousands of complex cases and a respected speaker and author in this field. Heather Lucas, nurse practitioner, is a functional medicine nurse practitioner with a deep passion for hormone optimization, sexual wellness, peptides, metabolic health, and longevity. She believes you deserve to feel your best to show up for your family, your career, your friends, and yourself outside of work. Heather enjoys skiing, camping, and making cherished memories with her family. Welcome, you two. Thank you so much for being here. Well, late summer, early fall in Idaho is just a time we've all gotten used to that includes wildfire smoke and toxic air. And so wildfire smoke isn't something that's not only inconvenient, it's extremely toxic, and your body needs more than just maybe a mask and maybe an indoor air filter to handle it. So we're here today to talk about what can we do to support our body when the outdoor air is less than ideal to breathe and play and work in, and even what we can do inside. So thanks so much for being a part of this just really, really, really important conversation. So Dr. Musnick, let's start with you. What kinds of toxins are we inhaling when there's wildfire smoke? I don't think a lot of people even think about all the different toxins that are in the air that we're breathing in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the full spectrum of toxins.
Right.
And so if you go through these categories, one of the worst is heavy metals.
Right.
And I mean, there's definitely lead and mercury and aluminum, and they're highly toxic to the nervous system. But what a lot of people don't realize is there's also arsenic, barium. The list of metals is like, it takes up a paragraph to write down all the metals.
Right.
So almost every metal is included. But what I think about is the most dangerous ones are mercury, lead, aluminum, and then we have another list, another category, which is more, like chemical toxins, like these things called polyaromatic hydrocarbons. And the chemical toxins, some of these are known cancer-causing agents.
Right.
So if you look at what's in smoke, in forest fire smoke, that we're all being exposed to this. And there's a lot of fires in Oregon, and there's, there can be fires all over the place. But in terms of, say, Idaho here and Oregon, we're all going to be exposed to this. It's not just like someone's exposed here and someone. No, everybody's being exposed to this. And I really think that this is not just an issue anymore of someone with a lung problem or someone with COPD. This is an issue for virtually everybody, because it increases the risk of heart problems. And most people do not realize this, because it increases systemic inflammation, including what's going on in the coronary arteries. It can adversely affect the brain. It greatly increases the risk for cancer. Did you know now we have a rate of cancer in this country of 1 in 2?
Yep. It's
1
terrifying.
in 2.
It's terrifying.
So this is an additional piece, and I'm very much into prevention of cancer.
Right.
And I think anybody who doesn't want to get cancer has got to be thinking about what are they going to do regarding, how they're going to handle all this exposure to forest fire smoke.
So we know our air, especially because we live in an agricultural zone here in the Treasure Valley, we know it's already dirty. Why is it that when we have wildfire season, it makes it that much more significantly polluted?
Well, because then you're bringing up that all these things like mostly trees are being heated to extremely high temperatures.
Right.
So some chemicals are created because of the high temperatures.
Okay.
And also, a lot of people don't realize that trees have heavy metals in them. Our soil is full of heavy metals for a lot of reasons that we're not going to go into today. So that the trees have heavy metals, the root structures are less strong these days, And when they burn, those metals are being released in the air, and then the heat is producing chemicals that are even more toxic. And so if you just take what we're being exposed to on a regular basis, which is aluminum and barium and some other things, and then add this, it's a significant jump in the toxin exposure that the average person is being exposed to. And I think a lot of people misunderstand this and think, oh, this is just someone, with asthma, or this is just an issue for someone that smokes or has lung disease. No, this is an issue for everybody.
So everybody. What type of demographic needs to pay really special attention when the air quality is poor?
Well, I mean, and of course, anybody with asthma.
Yeah.
Anybody with shortness of breath.
Okay.
Anybody with this thing called pulmonary fibrosis, anybody with coronary artery issues or at risk for, heart issues, anybody who already has brain fog, anybody that has any kind of brain issues, cognitive issues, because this can cause brain fog. It can damage the blood-brain barrier. And these toxins actually get absorbed via the bronchial tubes. So it's not just damaging the lungs, it's getting in the body. So, of course, anybody with cancer, but anybody that's had cancer that's in remission, anybody that has cancer that's under treatment, anybody that has autoimmune conditions, anybody that has inflammatory conditions. But I'm also, I can make a statement that virtually everybody has to be doing things about this for themselves and their family.
This is something you might not be able to answer. I'm thinking, there's 2 times of the year when we here in the Treasure Valley struggle with good air quality, and that's the wildfire season, but that's also the January, February inversions that we experience. Yeah. How much more significant is the wildfire smoke as far as the air quality index, or AQI, or I guess not even AQI, because that's a more standardized way that they look at it. But in your opinion, as a medical doctor, which one is more hazardous?
The wildfire smoke.
Okay. You don't worry as much about the inversions in the winter?
Yeah, I don't. I think it's a problem.
Yeah.
But the level of toxins that we're being exposed to with the wildflower smoke, it takes this, much, much, much higher toxin exposure and toxin load than the winter exposures.
On top of the heavy metals, what kind of environmental chemicals are we seeing in the air? Do we know? Do we even know?
Well, yeah. Some of these have been categorized. Like I said, the polyaromatic hydrocarbons, PCBs. There's...
Where are those coming from? Those aren't in the trees. Are they?
I'm not exactly sure where that's coming from.
I don't know.
But anybody that's interested literally can Google harmful toxins in forest fire smoke, and they'll just see a list of these things.
Yep.
You can actually Google heavy metals, then you see a list of the metals. But you can also say chemicals that are in smoke, and a lot of them are carcinogenic.
So you're mostly worried about the lungs, the cardiovascular system, and then obviously the immune system as it relates to cancer, and the brain. And
and carcinogens, which means something directly could cause cancer as a triggering chemical, metal, etc.
Right. Okay.
Also important to know in these wildfires, it's not just trees being burned. Unfortunately, sometimes structures are being burned. So we're released, chemicals from the metals or formaldehyde.
Yeah, that's right. Formaldehyde is one of them
chemicals,
too.
Formaldehyde, the carbon monoxide, benzenes, heavy metals, there's so many different things being released, not just from trees burning.
Yeah. And the heat, I to be honest, never really thought about the extreme temperatures and what that does. We all know what that does to chemicals. So that's a really interesting piece. So let's jump to what probably most of our listeners really want to know about. How can they protect themselves? The different things they can do in their home, to their body, for their children, for their families.
So one simple thing people can do is go to their furnace and look at the size of the filter that goes in the furnace. It's a rectangular shaped thing, and get a carbon HEPA mix filter. Most filters are just HEPA, and they will not deal with the volatile organic chemicals.
No matter how small it is, no matter how small.
Right. So the best thing to do is to get a carbon filter for your furnace, and then change that out like during smoke season, like once every month and a half, as opposed to 3 months.
I changed our filter 3 times last year during the smoke season. I mean, just every month.
What's interesting is there is what's called a MERV rating.
Yes.
Where you'd ideally like the highest MERV rating because you want to filter out particles that are smaller. But when you have carbon on board, you can't get as high a MERV rating. So sometimes all you can get is like an 8 or a 10.
Right.
But because it's carbon, it's going to be helpful. And so that's going to filter the air going through. But also you want to have a room filter in like maybe the children's room or like the living room or something else that can filter out not only, you know, mold and dust, but also particulate matter and chemicals, which are called volatile organic chemicals. And so most of the air filters do not have that capability.
Right.
There are some, we were talking about this today. One of my favorites is a company called IntelliPure, because it's very reasonably priced and it has technology to deal with volatile organic chemicals. There's another one called Molecule that has a different type of technology. Both of those can deal with that. And then there's one called IQ Air. So these are 3 companies that have the capability of doing this. Part of what people have to remember is you got to have something portable enough to move it from room to room.
That's what I was going to say. When it's expensive to buy 5 or 6 units if you've got 3 children, right? Yeah. So I take all of our bedroom units and bring them downstairs during the day, and we just, it's like a family game to move the air filters around morning and night. Yeah. Jasper Air. Do you know anything about the Jasper Air? That's one I've come testmyhome.com. Ryan, who we all know and love, check out his website. He's got some great resources, but he introduced me to one called Jasper Air, and I love it. I love it. And it actually will give you a numerical reading on how clean your air is. Really? And so it's fascinating to see the reading. It's like an indoor AQI to see what your reading is after cooking or after you've opened the windows and there's poor quality air outside, and how quickly it can actually.
The other issue is that the water gets even more contaminated because this stuff is going into water supplies. So nobody should be drinking tap water anyway.
Right.
And people should be drinking filtered water where they actually filter it at their home.
What filter are you recommending for people?
So people need to be thinking about, okay, do I have whole house filtration, under the sink filtration? A lot of the whole house filtration is not doing what the companies say they're doing.
Right.
Because if they really were, doing that, they'd have to have reverse osmosis and multiple stages. But so I usually recommend under the sink for really intensive filtration with reverse osmosis and some, multi-stage filtration there. And then there's some other things that people can do, with the water. They can get something that structures the water.
Yep.
There's something called a Mayu swirl, M-A-Y-U, swirl, S-W-R-I-R-L. That structures the water that you can take from the water filtration. But I don't think most people realize the water gets much dirtier and more contaminated during smoke season.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that. When you say structures the water, it's not an alkalizing system.
No, that isn't. I mean, and that's just interesting because it just brings up the question about, like, what kind of water do you want to be drinking?
Right.
Supposedly structured water is better for your body and to hydrate your body than non-structured water. And what's interesting is when water goes through long pipes, it loses its structure.
Okay.
And so so there's been a bunch of research on what's needed to structure water, and when it actually swirls around, like in a river or a waterfall, and that's what this device does in a glass pitcher. It swirls it around.
What's the device called?
A vortex.
What's the device called?
The company is Mayu, M-A-Y-U, and then the device is called the Mayu Swirl, like swirling.
Interesting.
But anyway, I mean, that itself is not necessary in regard to toxins.
Right.
It's just an added step you could do. And I'm at the point actually where I'm adding calcium EDTA because of all the metals that are in the water.
Okay.
And so at our clinic, actually, we carry a liposomal calcium EDTA that you can just, whenever I actually, quote, make water. So and everybody sees me bringing in this big hydro flask of water. Well, I've already, it's gone through the regular water filtration system Then I put it in the structuring system, and I add a dropper full of the calcium disodium EDTA, and then that should abound the metals, and be the cleanest water you can get. There's different systems. I mean, there's different systems out there that could go under the sink,
right?
And there's different systems that can go in a whole house.
What most people don't realize about like the carbon filtration is it doesn't also remove fluoride.
Right.
And fluoride is a big, I mean, we don't have enough time to really talk about the impacts of fluoride on the neurological system and your thyroid gland and your health.
Right.
But that's one that I think you have to at least check your water and see if you have high fluoride. And then you have to usually add an extra fluoride filter on top of a lot of the systems that are already good systems. I did have a question based on what you were talking about. Where can people purchase these carbon filters in addition to the HEPA?
The which filter?
The carbon filters for their furnace, for their system at home.
Oh.
Where can you purchase those? Do you know?
I mean, there's a number of websites that literally just sell these filters. I mean, they don't just sell carbon.
Like a brand.
They don't sell just carbon, but you know, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but sometimes Amazon sells these. There's one called Nordic. I know Nordic Pure. That's one company. There's a number of companies that specialize because in the filters, and you got to be very careful how you measure your filter, because oftentimes you got to buy one that's like 1/4 inch shorter on each side to be able to get it.
Oh my, okay.
As opposed to
where you call for professional
what
help.
the label says on it. So you take about 1/4 inch off of it. But a lot of times, if you just look up carbon furnace filter and give the dimensions, then you'll get a couple different companies that might carry them.
What people also don't realize is how often you need to actually get your duct system clean.
Yes.
Because that, I mean, especially like we live on a dirt road, and I mean, it's crazy when you just look at your vents, you can see how dirty they get, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's usually every 3 to 5 years, depending on your home, you actually have to have someone, and it's not cheap, come in and clean out the entire duct system to remove all the things that it's just circulating out from it. So it's not just the filter, it's also the
that's
duct
like
system.
a huge vacuum in a truck. I think, first of all, I think everybody should do that with every new home.
Agreed.
Because they don't realize that the contractor doesn't do that.
No. And they throw trash in those ducts and cigarette butts. And I've heard horror
then every
stories.
2 years, I think.
Every 2 is what you'd recommend? Wow. Okay. Yeah, that can be an undertaking, especially if you live in a reasonably sized home. And then after a remodel, of course, too.
Yeah.
You also have to get all that dust and stuff out of there. Yeah. So we could start talking about a lot of things to keep your environment clean.
Can we go back to the water filtration for just a moment?
Yeah, let's do.
So I've had a few patients that say they filter their water because they use the water filtration that is in their refrigerator.
Yep.
And I just wanted to hit on that because you mentioned carbon filter. Yeah.
That doesn't count.
That is a very weak water filtration device. And so, the reverse osmosis or some of these other more advanced filtration systems is what we're referring to in that, not just the one that comes in your refrigerator.
Or the plastic one that sits in your fridge. What are the Brita?
Like the Brita.
That also does not work.
Right.
And then are you having your clients remineralize?
Absolutely. We want to drive that cellular hydration and get the toxins out, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. So let's move on to other modalities that we're using even here in our clinic, or we can make some generalized recommendations as far as supplements, foods. I know you probably have some food ideas of what people can eat to help cycle the heavy metals out of their system, and then even things like IV therapy. So what are we recommending?
Well, in terms of foods, one of the best foods is cilantro. And so I actually recommend cilantro and parsley.
Parsley, yep.
Because they're in the same family, but they have certain things where they're strong in. But cilantro actually has a flavonoid called apigenin, and which is really good to decrease brain inflammation. But believe it or not, apigenin is very good for cancer prevention. Cool. It's incredible. And so I recommend people get as much cilantro and parsley as possible so they could put them in smoothies.
Yep.
But that I also recommend people actually make a cilantro parsley pesto, like make their own, and then use it on a lot of things. And then watercress is actually good because it's called a biphasic modulator, helps the liver. I actually recommend that people get milk thistle somehow into their body to protect the liver. We haven't talked about this yet, but the liver is the main organ involved in detoxification, along with the kidneys. And so, at this clinic, we're into not only dietary things, but also ways to improve your liver function. And we have a whole set of supplements to do that. And I think it's actually extremely important. And I used to hear about these things and like liver flushes, liver this, and I actually really am coming around thinking these are really important.
Yeah.
It's actually really important. People need to know how to do it. It's really important.
Yeah.
Eating organic is important, but all of us here can say that organic, it doesn't matter that it's labeled that way. It's not devoid of toxins,
Right.
but it's still the best option.
Agreed.
So eating organic, non-GMO is still the best option. Choosing, especially like choosing meats that are grass-fed, because otherwise you're getting lots of toxins building up in there.
I never even thought about the animals that roam the forest that are burning.
Sure.
Right. And then we're consuming those animals
yeah.
that maybe have lived. So isn't that interesting to think about where
Yep.
you're sourcing the meat that you're eating from? Did it hang out in Oregon for the
Yeah,
8 weeks
it does.
while the whole forest burned?
Right.
Yeah. Multifactorial.
Right.
Anyways.
We have some really cool IV therapy offerings that can support our body through detox as well. Just thinking about supporting the liver. Glutathione is our body's master antioxidant produced in our liver to help with detoxification. And so we have some IV offerings that include glutathione infusions. Vitamin C is also another really great antioxidant that can help support liver and detoxification. Alpha lipoic acid and NAC is a precursor to glutathione. It can be taken orally. And then the alpha lipoic acid can be taken orally or as an IV as well to just help reduce and neutralize those reactive oxygen species that happen with inflammation in our body from the wildfire toxins. So what's unique about IV therapy is, as Dr. Musnick mentioned, is that these wildfire chemicals that we inhale increase the overall inflammation in our body. So IV therapy bypasses the gut and gets directly into your bloodstream and can deliver high doses of nutrients that oral forms can't match.
Great.
So,
and also could get into the brain. Like some of these things need to get into the brain, especially things like chelating agents need to get in the brain. And we can't always say that if you take it orally, it gets in the brain. But things like EDTA can get in the brain. So that's one thing, especially if anybody's getting brain fog, cognitive issues, any neurological thing, Parkinson's, MS, anything else, the IVs can get into the brain better.
right.
But one thing that's interesting, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but I know you guys do,
I hope so.
is that what a lot of people don't realize, that IVs don't just like get rid of toxins, they also can improve red blood cells.
Yeah.
And by improving red blood cells, you're improving oxygenation to your tissues.
Yep.
And most people also don't realize that smoke and toxins can damage red blood cells. And the red blood cells can clump together, what's called rouleau formation, and they can't deliver oxygen well to tissues. So it's not only the lungs that can have problems, but other organs can have problems with decreased oxygenation, which is very harmful to organs because their red cells are not healthy.
Especially the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the
We
brain.
need lots of oxygen.
I'm thinking, oh my goodness, IV ozone, intranasal ozone, rectal ozone for people who are really, all of us that are, when we start to really struggle with poor quality air, how helpful that could be, that type of modality as well, for just, anti-inflammatory and detoxification purposes.
Yeah.
We do all of that.
And going to the group of people that, IV therapy, especially during wildfire season, could really benefit is think about outdoor workers, people who their jobs are outdoors. They don't have an option to come indoors and get purified air. So those are people that would really benefit from just helping to support their bodies through some natural detoxification. And they might be candidates, especially if they have autoimmune diseases, inflammatory diseases. they would really benefit from getting the IV therapies during, like, every week.
Absolutely.
During when wildfire is really heavy.
Yeah, we should have a special discount for firefighters.
Yeah,
Firefighters.
actually,
We'll work on that.
Anybody with coronary artery disease,
yeah.
Because the smoke actually increases the risk of having a coronary event.
Oh, I bet
and
it does.
stroke.
Yeah.
And now since COVID, we've had increased coagulability.
Yeah.
Anybody who's had a stroke, people might this smoke actually can increase coagulability in the body. And so, I mean, I think that anybody that feels worse during the smoke season should get a consult and say how they're feeling, whether it's short of breath, brain fog, whatever it is, and say, hey, what can I do to help detoxify and decrease the effect of these extra toxins on my body?
Our friends were giving us a hard time the day after 4th of July when I was giving my family binders the morning after the 4th of July. And I woke up with a headache and felt a little fatigued and foggy. And it's not just because you stayed up late watching fireworks. It's because of the air pollution. We were camping. And so we're outside and I'm like, all that dramatic increase in those volatile chemicals and the polycarbons that were in the air after fireworks. And I'm sure it's very, very similar to what we see during wildfire smoke. I think specifically, and maybe it's just because I'm a mom of young kids, but I think specifically about protecting children during this time, right? Because the kids, I mean, you cannot keep your children cooped up all day inside. And it's actually pretty wild when you follow the sport, what the youth sports do around here. They have a pretty low threshold for when they let these children or when they cancel games and practices. I think they do a really good job of protecting the kids and not letting them practice in concerning environments. But I'm always that mom that wants to like reply on the email and be like, by the way, put your kids on these supplements and keep them really well hydrated and throw them in the sauna if you have one, every day during wildfire season. Like, why not? Feed them organically, get them sweating every day if you can, ideally not outside if it's poor air quality. But yeah, we have to think about
that's a good idea because sauna can get out certain metals. Not everything, but certain metals, lots of chemicals. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm saying to people, like if you can get into an infrared sauna 2 to 3 days a week, that would be a very good idea. And I'm at the point of saying to a lot of these, so many patients, you have got to think of detoxification as part of your general health strategy.
Yeah, even if you're healthy.
You
just can't ignore it.
Because this 1 in 2 rate, statistics for cancer.
And that is environmental, you guys. That's not genetic. Our genetics have not changed that quickly.
This is environmental. And I'm just thinking anybody who does not want to get cancer needs to think about how are you going to handle this excessive toxin load from the smoke and from other things too. Just the air. Yeah, we don't even have to talk about the smoke. We could talk about the air quality, but from the extra from the smoke, since we're talking about that, what are you going to do? Everybody should have a plan for this.
But Dr. Musnick, we have a liver and the liver detoxes us. We don't need to detox. I mean, how many times have you heard that, right? Your clients have their primary care provider telling them that. Like, oh, that detox support your functional medicine practitioner has you doing, that's silly. You have a liver. The liver helps your body to detox.
Yeah, mostly the funny thing is everybody thinks that if they get a comprehensive profile, that the ALT and the AST, that they're checking their liver function. That doesn't check liver function. So doctors are not actually checking liver function.
So what's the best way we can
They're not
assess liver function in ourselves and our families, or us as practitioners? We get a GGT.
You get a GGT.
Is somewhat helpful.
So I still think, I still think that we need to get the liver enzymes, but those are like a 911.
It's like too late.
That's kind of late because then they're really elevated. Of course, you want to look at the bilirubin. But I am now feeling like, we used to have these functional medicine tests. They were actually detoxification challenges. And it's tricky because we don't really have these anymore to test the function of the liver that way. And so,
we don't have great tests.
We don't.
Look at liver health.
And so, we do have like a total toxin burden test that can
doesn't tell us how well your liver's
chemicals that are in somebody but I really think that the average person needs to be thinking about liver health.
I agree.
Not just hepatitis or whatever, but liver health. And, I'm like a person that would say, oh, would you ever do a liver flush? Would you ever do a liver, I don't even like talking about it as a liver flush. It's like, drink milk thistle tea every day, organic, at least do that. And then consider doing like a liver flush or a liver healthy treatment, like once a month for a while, and see how you feel. If you're, I would say to most people, your energy will increase, and generally allergies decrease, and so many things will benefit from it. So at this point, I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. I remember it was years ago, you actually wanted to do like a monthly class where you led people through a liver flush. Yeah. We should revisit that.
I think it actually would be a good idea.
No, I think it'd be really popular and beneficial to our community. And don't ever underestimate too the importance of also looking at gut health, and are you constipated? Are you having 1 to 2? Are you fully eliminating? And those are also really important. So it isn't, I wish it was as easy as to say, take this supplement to support your liver, eat organic, and you're good to go. Because it is very comprehensive and complicated, and there's multi-layers to it. Because the amount of clients that come in and say, well, yeah, I only have a bowel movement every 3 days. That is not normal. Your body is not adequately detoxing. You should not be bloated every time you have a meal or have a snack, right? You shouldn't be struggling with diarrhea 3 times a week. So those are all also signs that we need to get gut health and liver health and just, your body in check. So there's a lot that plays into it.
Yeah, because the liver can help detoxify, but it has to then go into the intestines.
Right.
Then it has to get out.
Right.
And if someone's constipated, some of these toxins will actually recycle in the body, which is not good.
It's a big deal.
It all has to be dealt with together. But I think every person needs to have a detoxification plan.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Especially in this day and age, 2025 now.
We mentioned a couple with some food choices, some IV offerings that we have here. You also, Amber, you mentioned sauna, which we have a red light sauna available at our Meridian Clinic for people to use.
Ooh, the Flopresso, the lymphatic drainage suit.
Was another thing I was thinking of there that can just, our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump that drives it. Like our heart drives our circulatory system, but our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So the way we circulate and mobilize our lymphatic fluid, which our lymphatic fluid is like our trash collection, right? So the way that we can mobilize that is through exercise, moving the muscles or walking, doing things like that, but also can support it with a lymphatic massage, lymphatic. Flopresso. It's kind of like a jacket and pants that you kind of wear, and you just get to lay there and relax and it does the little massage for you.
Well, and how about sleep? Our lymphatic system that works at night when we sleep
for our
detox.
Well, the sleep is most important for the brain. To
take out the trash.
Take out the trash to what's called the lymphatic system.
Right.
So if someone doesn't sleep long enough or well enough, they're gonna maintain and keep the toxins in their brain.
Right.
But the other thing that I wanted to say about what you're also saying, Heather, is that one of the things that people can think about also is like, what are they want to have more of or enough of? And, one of them is glutathione, and it's like a master sort of detoxification. It doesn't detoxify everything.
Right.
Because the liver has all the pathways in phase 2, but glutathione is very much related to this. And so I think virtually everybody should be thinking about, well, maybe I want to get my glutathione measured, because we can measure it.
We can.
And how do you raise it? Probably the best way to raise it is to take the sort of building blocks of it. So there's a couple ways. You could take a liposomal glutathione that we have in a spray.
Right.
And that's not a bad way to do it. And or in addition, you can take the building blocks of it. And I'm kind of excited because we have this product that has cysteine in it, and it has all the building blocks of glutathione, and it actually comes in a powder.
And have you tried it? It tastes really good.
Yeah, I had it today.
It's like mango.
It tastes really good.
It's really good. And it's like nice little travel.
So you want to hear something funny? This is what I did today. Like, I'm always experimenting with these things. So I put the powder in a mug, then I added water to it. Then I drank that, and I left a little in the bottom, and then I immediately put milk thistle tea bags into it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, let's build the glutathione, and then let's have the milk thistle.
Yeah. No, that's a great product. I love that product. Yeah.
A lot of people complain, they say, I'm taking too many supplements. I mean, everybody can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Well, this is a way you can do this with a powder. Or the glutathione spray is a spray. So you don't have to swallow a capsule to get those higher.
Yeah.
And
we'll link some of these products to this show because we've mentioned a lot of really, really wonderful products that can be helpful.
Products.
We'll link our Wildfire detox support kits as well.
Yeah.
Because this is very valuable stuff.
We could also bring up castor oil, using castor oil packs on the thyroid, on the breasts, on the liver. All of that helps to, it stimulates little smooth muscle to help with the lymphatic flow and ultimately detoxification. Castor
Another really good way to increase intracellular glutathione is with coffee enemas.
And we have some peptides, but this is not a peptide podcast.
Even peptides for sleep to help with the lymphatic. This is a funny story. This was years ago. I learned at a Cellcore conference about when I first heard about the lymphatic system and how we detoxify at night with sleep. And Jay Davidson at that conference had actually recommended, and I don't know if you ever recommend this, Dr. Musnick, but increasing the head of your bed ever so slightly, like a couple inches, to help support the lymphatic drainage at night. And so I snuck into like our garage and found some like old dirty bricks and just to raise our bed. And my husband found out, he could just tell right away. He's such a freak about the way he sleeps. And he looked under the bed and he's like, this is getting a little ridiculous. Like you're bringing in dirty bricks from the garage. And I'm like, yep,
he'll thank you later for it.
Oh no, he took him out right away. That did not last. He noticed a difference. It did not like it. He did not help us sleep. But yeah, there's lots of different things we can do. Well, this has been so valuable. Thank you so much, you two, for just your little tidbits. Anything else you think is important to share? I mean, we've talked about so many different things beyond just protecting your body and your internal organs during wildfire smoke season. But
so I would say,
else?
First of all, I'd say, you know what? This season can last a month or two.
Oh yeah, easily.
I mean, it's not just a few days. It's that, you go out and smell it. It's like, it's there. It could be, it depends where you live, but it could last for a while, number one. I'm of the opinion now that people should increase their glutathione, but they also should think about decreasing brain inflammation, even just with like a highly absorbable curcumin.
That's a good idea.
Like this stuff called Longvita curcumin. We have it in two forms. We have it in gummies for kids or adults. It's 100 milligrams per gummy. And I'm recommending 600 milligrams a day just to keep your decrease brain inflammation, because there's so much chance the brain is going to get inflamed and that these particles can cause blood-brain barrier issues. And so why not just do something during this season to decrease brain inflammation? Because you don't want to lose neurons. You don't want to lose synaptic networks. You don't want your blood-brain barrier damaged. So at least this has some abilities to protect the brain. And it's simple.
Yeah, that's a great product recommendation.
Right. We can't control the air that we breathe.
Right.
But we can definitely control how we support our body and strengthen our body's defense system.
Which is that's a great conclusion.
Hopefully we drop some good tidbits for how people can start their journey, but we would love to see you and help you along your path.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. Yep, and we will link all these products and then some of the detox support products we put together during this season too that we always try and offer a little extra discount on. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you both, Heather and Dr. Musnick, for joining me.
Yeah, it's been great.
Are you looking for high-quality supplements? FunMedShop.com is carefully curated by the wellness experts at Functional Medicine of Idaho. You'll find high-quality supplements to support your health and optimize your body's natural functions. Rooted in responsible sourcing and utmost commitment to purity ensures that you're getting products that are not only effective, but also safe and reliable. Plus, you'll find our own line, Functional Medicine Foundations, which is carefully formulated using the best ingredients available so you can trust that you're giving the body the support it needs. Visit funmedshop.com today and take the next step in your health journey. That's funmedshop.com. Thank you for listening to the Functional Medicine Foundation's podcast. For more information on topics covered today, specialties available at the FMI Center for Optimal Health, and the highest quality of supplements and more, go to funmedfoundations.com.